A very good morning to everyone presented here. I, Siddharth Singh, would like to start this knowledge session on empowered women, empowered societies, bridging gaps for social changes at 11 a.m. Women hold immense potential to shape societies for better. When women are empowered, driving economic growth, improving education, and fostering equality. Empowering women means ensuring equality access to opportunities, resources, and rights, breaking down barriers that hinder their potential. Bridging gaps for social change involves addressing disparities in education, healthcare, employment, and representation. By creating inclusive space and dismantling stereotypes, societies unlock the full spectrum of talent and innovations that women bring. SEMS Welfare Foundation is a registered non-profit organization is dedicated to social impact across various sectors. We focus on education, particularly skill development and entrepreneurship. Through our initiative, this action, we have created training program in IT, finance, retail, and entrepreneurs, impacting over 6,000 individuals. We are currently upskilling inmates in Haryana jails and collaboratively with universities and colleges. We have also partnered with banks to place over 1,500 candidates in jobs. In just a short time, SEMS has established itself as a force for positive change, equipping individuals with skill for employment and promoting women's leadership in various industries. This session is collaboratively organized by FEMLEDS. FEMLEDS is another initiative empowered women through workshops and stories of successful female entrepreneurs. We conduct programs on digital literacy, marketing, and career development, reaching over 1,000 women across multiple states. This initiative recently reached a milestone of 100 women actively involved. About the speaker, we are pleased to introduce Oviya Singh. Today, we have the honor of welcoming Oviya Singh. Not only she is a four-time TEDx speaker, author, and Nelson Mandela Leadership Award recipient, but she is also a dedicated mentor and action-oriented leader. Through Rising Changemakers, she has led countless awareness campaigns, tree plantation drives, and policy discussion, demonstrating her commitment to real-world impact. As co-founder and CEO of Youth Today magazines, she amplifies the voice of young changemakers, providing resources and insights to inspire action. Her leadership has become been organized by recognized by institutions like University of Oxford and featured in media outlets such as the News and News18. Please join me in welcoming Oviya Singh.
Thank you so much for this lovely introduction during this session. It truly felt special. Thank you so much for that. So, greetings everyone present here. Today, we are not just discussing women empowerment as a trendy phrase or like to, toss around in conferences or campaigns, but today we are diving into it as a lived reality, something that is raw, urgent, complex, and we are addressing the kind of empowerment that challenges systems, which redefines powers, which shapes institutions, and it forces the society to face the truth. The truth that real change does not happen without women, it actually happens because of them. We are talking about the kind of empowerment that just doesn't lift women up, it lifts entire communities, economies, families, futures, and whatnot. When we empower women, we do not just create progress, we accelerate it. The World Bank, the UN says it, and the history itself proves it too. That empowering women is not just morally right, it's strategically necessary and ethically our duty. But for all the conversations, all the hashtags, all the campaigns, we still stand at a place where far too many women are expected to wait for a seat at the table instead of building their own. So today, I'm here not just as a speaker, but as someone who is living this reality from the ground up. So, I'm Oviya Singh. I am 14. And yes, you heard that right. I am 14. I am the founder of a nonprofit that empowers young people to take charge of environmental and social change. And I am also the CEO of a company that's profitable, that's growing, and that is working with real clients. So, to face the reality, yes, I attend board meetings. Yes, I negotiate with media partners. I run campaigns with executives. I oversee strategy and I lead teams of people who are twice or even thrice my age. I run campaigns and I get on calls with them to lead projects from idea to execution and to deliver results. And surprisingly, I do it all while being a student, while submitting my algebra homework and revising for my exams. It is not easy because it's not supposed to be. But what's harder though in this field of my field of work, what's harder? It isn't the late nights, the early mornings, or maybe even the mental load. It's actually walking into a room and seeing the doubt in people's eyes before I even say a word. It's the judgment that comes wrapped with a smile. But how can you lead a nonprofit? How can you lead a community of people where people are elder to you, even twice, thrice your age? Some ask, but some ask some ask loudly, but some ask silently. I can see it wrapped behind their smiles. And I see it, I feel it, and the most important thing is that I use it. Because here's the thing, empowerment doesn't wait for permission. It does not apologize. It does not whisper. It leads. And it keeps leading no matter, how many people are waiting for it to fall. So today, what I want to do is I want to go beyond buzzwords. I want to get into the real story of how empowered women empower our society and how we together can start bridging the very gaps that divide us. So how about we start with a reality check? We need to start with facts because no matter how inspired we feel, real empowerment demands that we first confront the reality. And the reality is this, that we are still operating in a system where women, regardless of talent, education, ambition, are expected to work harder for less and thank the system for the privilege. So I think that we should stop pretending that equality is here because we have few women in leadership, or because we celebrate Women's Day. Celebrating Women's Day does not guarantee that equality is standing here in front of us in its best form, because the truth is that it's not. Celebrating success is not the same as addressing a structural failure. The truth is that we're not lacking in talent, we're lacking in access, we're lacking in representation, and we're lacking in respect. If we look at the numbers, if we look at the numbers, then sorry, just give me a second. Yes. So, talking about a reality check, globally, the gender pay gap is still stuck at 23%. Women do three times more unpaid care work than men, and yet they are told that they need to work harder to reach such leadership. Less than 5% of the Fortune 500 companies have women CEOs. Women are unrepresented in politics, tech, finance, and venture capital. In boardrooms, they are often outnumbered. In households, they're overburdened. And the most chilling reality of it all, in many parts of the world, women cannot still walk home at night without clutching keys in their fists like weapons, without using the safety keychains that we've started to make. And so, no, we are not fighting for luxury. We're fighting for safety. We're fighting for voice, for autonomy, for the opportunity that does not come with conditions. We are fighting for respect that is not conditional on how likable or palatable we are. The problem is never ability, it is always access. It is the fact that women are expected to be perfect before they're promoted, while men are often promoted on potential. It is that when a woman speaks up, she's aggressive. When she doesn't, she's weak. When she leads, she's bossy. But when she follows, she's not ambitious enough. This isn't about fixing women. It is about fixing the environment where women have to survive in. Today, we are not just talking about how we can improve women more, how we can empower women to be better versions of themselves, but we are talking about the environment that the women live in that needs to change and not the woman herself. So today we are required to talk solutions because it's important that we acknowledge what's broken. It's even more important that we talk about what's working and what's possible. Empowerment doesn't happen by chance. It happens by design. And the design is not one size fits all. You know, it needs to be intentional, it needs to be intersectional, and it needs to be integrated into the way that we educate, we legislate, we employ, and we lead. First of all, we need education, not just access to school, but education that teaches agency, that teaches self worth, that teaches leadership and voice. We need to raise a generation that sees girls as leaders and not helpers. At Rising Changemakers, I've seen girls lead entire environmental campaigns. negotiate fundings, mobilize communities, and all of that because someone finally told them that you can. They didn't need saving, they needed space. They needed someone to tell them that their voice mattered before the world had a chance to convince them that it didn't. And secondly, we have economic independence. Sometimes we say that money is power. And when women have control over money, they make radically different decisions. Decisions that uplift families, communities, and futures. They do not make the decisions based on selfish needs, but on the basis of good deeds. They try to uplift the communities that no one even adhered to look at. They try to make this world a better place for all those children whose voices have been unheard and not for any selfish reason. Women reinvest. It is often said that women reinvest 90% of their income into their communities, and yet they are routinely denied credit, startup capital, equal pay, and the right to economic decision making. The solution? I think the best solution here is to invest in women, fund their ideas, back their ventures, pay them fairly, promote them equitably. Stop asking them to prove themselves more than anybody else in the room just because they are females, just because we consider them to be to have less potential than the men sitting in that room. Third thing that I feel is policy. Real change requires more than good intentions. It needs laws with teeth. Countries that legislate parity, like Iceland has done with its mandatory equal pay certification, or political quotas that just don't talk change. They make it non-negotiable. We need policies that not just wait for the culture to evolve. We need structures that force evolution to happen more faster. And the fourth, and the very most important thing, it is sharing, and maybe even like sharing and sitting together to talk. Because visibility matters, representation matters. When girls see women leading, speaking, owning the stage, challenging and succeeding, it plants belief in them. But this visibility cannot be tokenism. It cannot be one woman on the panel. It has to be normalized. Not exceptionalized, but normalized. Because when women's voices are everywhere, media, politics, business, art, we don't just change stories. That is when we hold the power to change systems. Now, I wanted to bring this conversation into this room today. Now, like you've heard me speak, and I really wanted to hear from you people too. I did not want this to sound cliche, but I wanted to make the session a little interactive. Not because it sounds cool, but because no movement survives on silence, does it? So I would just like to ask Karishma ma'am if I am allowed to, carry a little interactive segment for like 5-10 minutes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. So about bringing the conversation into this room, I would like to do a quick sort of question answer, or maybe any sort of a poll maybe. You can share about why you feel that, and like what is the biggest barrier to women empowerment. Is that cultural expectations? Is it safety? Is it leadership access? Is it financial independence? Or is it systemic biasness? I would really appreciate if you all can take 1 minute, think about it, and then share with me so that we can make this session quite interactive. And as I said, change does not survive on silence. It survives when we speak, when we come together to discuss. So please take a minute, think about it. Please let me know. Thank you so much. Can anyone share their views? Anybody would like to step forward to share their views?
The lack of representation in decision making is, I think, the biggest barrier for
Mhm.
women's empowerment.
Right. And can you give me like a reason why it is, or and a solution that we can have to improve the situation around us?
Uh,
Mhm.
a woman need to be confident, because in the olden days, no one is giving any opportunity to women to come in front. So they are now not not making
Empowered.
their decisions.
Mhm.
If they are going for job also, so this is not full is his what his his her decision.
Definitely.
If he want to do something else, but if his family is forcing him, no, you don't go there. Like if she want to become a DJ, RJ,
Mm-hmm.
but your family will pressurize you, no, do some office work, do some presentative works like this. So she became not confident on this.
Definitely. Perfect. So we need more representation for women. We need
Yes,
women to speak up for themselves. And we as a community should be there at every step of the way to help them, to empower them, and not to look out for ways to bring them down. So I truly loved your perspective, ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing. Is there anybody else who would like to share on what you think is the biggest barrier to women's empowerment in today's world? Siddharth, sir, maybe you would want to share something?
Ma'am, in my POV, it's like societal beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you elaborate like a little more on that?
मैम लाइक इन रूरल एरियाज की वहाँ पर लड़कियों को ये रहता है कि जब तक पढ़ाना पढ़वा देते हैं फिर उसके बाद एक टाइम पे उनकी शादी फिर उनपे ये रहता है कि पढ़ लिया फिर तुम्हारी शादी होनी होनी उसके बाद उनकी जो एजुकेशन रहती है वो कोई काम की होती नहीं तो इस चीज को हम थोड़ा इम्प्रूव कर सकते हैं।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल सही। वी नीड टू चैलेंज द सोसाइटल बिलीव्स नाउ। अगर हम उनको ही एम्पावर नहीं करेंगे जहां से हमारी रूट्स आती है तो हम
सही है।
कुछ नहीं कर पाएंगे। वी आर लिविंग इन एन अर्बन सेक्टर फॉर नाउ, बट इफ वी टर्न अराउंड, look back at the rural sector, there are women who need help. There are girls who have big aspirations yet are tied down in the belief and concept of marriage as soon as they turn 18, of kids, of households. And there it challenges to us as a developed society that where is this direction taking us? Now today I'm a girl myself. I am a child. I'm a girl child and I'm still 14. Now it's not that people do not question what I do, what my work is. People, it's not like people do not question the fact that if what I'm doing is a school project, or if my parents are handling it for me, or if am I even capable enough to do something like that. Like so, it's all about raising your standards. It's about raising your standards and helping the unprivileged ones to do so too. It's because when we evolve as a community. We do not evolve as an individual. But to evolve as a community, yes, evolving as an individual is important. So when we evolve our mindset, when we start to believe things that, when we actually start to believe the true meaning of equality between men and women, that is when we'll empower ourselves, we'll empower more people, and actually bring a positive impact in the society. So thank you so much for sharing that with me. And if there is anybody else who would also like to share, please go ahead. I'll wait for another minute. If not, then that's totally all right. I'll wait for another minute if there's anybody else who would like to share their views. All right. I guess the silence speaks it all. That's totally all right. So I'll go ahead to the next segment of what I wanted to discuss today. As a young woman stepping into leadership spaces, I've often been told that I'm too ambitious, that I'm too outspoken, or that I'm too much for my age, and sometimes just too much, period. But I refuse to apologize for taking up space. I have always refused to tone myself down to make the world comfortable. Because every time a girl sees a woman leading a project, she learns that ambition isn't ignorance or arrogance, as a matter of fact. It's aspiration. I've made it my mission to challenge every stereotype that tells women to stay in their place, or our place is wherever change is being made. And no, we do not need permission to be powerful. We just need to normalize women in work, women in leadership, women in charge, not as exceptions, but as the new normal. And empowerment doesn't always look like breaking headlines. Sometimes it looks like a girl walking into a room where she's never been invited before, a mother standing up for her daughter's education, a friend saying no when silence is easier. And these small acts, they ripple into revolutions. I'll share a very personal story here. Uh, to raise me, my mom left her job. The reason being because I used to be a little too sick, and the fact that I needed a mom full time while growing up. My mom left her already built career where she could have grown ripples and amounts just to raise me and to support my family. Now, the thing here that is that if a woman leaves her job for her family, sometimes it's said that it's good, when a woman does not leave the job for her family, when she says that I still want to work even if I have a child, I still want to make my career, build it, and be successful in life, people tell her that what kind of a mother are you? People question her, people judge her. That is this how a mother should be, leaving their child in crutches or in daycares? But at the same time, when a woman chooses her family over her career, this is the same society that rises up, I know, out of nowhere, and starts blaming her for the fact that you are the one who destroyed your career. You are the one who chose to take care of your daughter or son, and and chose to leave your career. So the difference here is that we treat women as per our, what do we say, as per our comfort. We treat women as per our own comfort, living in our comfort zones, when we think uh, that we need to taunt her for the fact that she's prioritizing her career over her family. We'll taunt her more than we want. We'll indulge in her matters, where we even don't know the whole story. And at the same time, when that woman is actually trying to step up for her family than for herself, we'll become the very developed mindset society. We'll start telling her to focus on her job, to manage her kids side by side. And when she'll do that, and when she'll start managing both her family and her work, then we'll tell her, अरे इतनी भी क्या कौन सी बड़ी बात है, घर आए हो, घर आके काम करो, you do not need to rest, no. अगर तुमने अपना करियर अपने लिए चूज किया है, ये तुम्हारी चॉइस थी. अगर अब तुम ऑफिस से शाम को घर आए हो, तो you need to work for yourself now. That is the biggest place where we are failing as a society. क्योंकि if a man and a woman, if a husband and a wife are coming in home together after a whole day of 9 to 5, a man will go sit on the couch, maybe relax himself, but a woman will straight go into the kitchen, cook food for herself, go to her kids, ask them how their day was, help them with their homework, listen to them for the test they have tomorrow, and then at the end of it all, what does she get to hear? तुमने अपने लिए ही तो चुना है, अब भुगतो जो तुमने किया है. This is where we are as a society. And I really feel that this is where we are failing. And we need to work for this, because as women, हम क्या मांग रहे हैं? हम ये नहीं मांग रहे हैं कि आप हमें इजाजत दो कि हम लीड करें. We are creating system where women, regardless of their background, identity, or geography, can thrive, where she can speak, where she can build, and where she can challenge. Because social change doesn't wait for comfort. It begins when we confront discomfort with courage. And when I started Rising Change Makers, or when I started Youth Today magazines with my co-founders, I was a little girl with a voice and a cause. I didn't sort of have any resources. I didn't have any connections. I didn't have a roadmap. I just saw the spark. What I had was a little support. I had support from my parents, from my mentors, from my friends, everyone. And that is the same support that every girl out there with a vision, with a mission, and with an ambition is looking for. Support. If a family can't support her, then we as a society still can. Because क्या है ना, we say that na, that Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, this is one family, this is one earth, and this is one family. So when her own family cannot support her, why can't we step up to support her? Why can't we give her the resources, invest in her business, give her the resources, talk to her, let her lead the world, and let her lead the way? When I started, I had a little conviction in me. And sometimes the fact is that all you need to do is begin. If I've learned anything from this, it's that the clarity of purpose, it beats certainty every day. मैं एक प्लान करके जाऊंगी, the thing will never happen according to that plan. हमेशा कुछ ना कुछ अलग आएगा. So we need to stop asking the fact that can women lead? And we need to actually start asking, why can't they lead? Because the question was never about capability. The question was always about opportunity, and the courage to claim it. So to every young woman who might listen to this or not, don't wait for the world to be ready. You're not here to be liked. You're not here to be accepted. You're here to be bold. You're here to shake things up. You're here to speak, even if your voice trembles. Because when women rise, we don't just change our lives, we change the world around us. The world will tell us to be quiet. They'll tell us to be gentle, they'll tell us to be agreeable. But here's the truth: we are actually never meant to be confined by someone else's definition of feminine. We can be strong, we can lead boardrooms and revolutions, we can cradle communities, and we can create empires too. We are not either or. We are everything. They said we are everything that they said that we couldn't be all at once. So today, as we are here, I want you all to imagine just a world where a girl doesn't have to fight for a mic. She's handed it. Where her ideas aren't interrupted in the meeting room, but they are implemented. Where her ambition is not seen as arrogance, but what it truly is seen as audacity. Audacity in a world where that told her to shrink down. And that is the world we must build, not someday, not later on, but now. Because there is no better time to start than today. And yes, statistics show progress. I am not denying that fact. But it's the stories that stir revolutions. Stories of girls who said no to their child marriage, the teenager who started a menstrual hygiene campaign in her village, the woman who reported harassment at work, not just for herself, but for the next one. These are the true milestones of change, which are measured not in numbers, but in courage. And the most important thing that we need to do is lift each other. So, talking about the truth, we rise higher when we rise together. Empowered women do not compete. We create spaces, we open doors, we turn me into we. If we want social change to be sustainable, it cannot be about individual glory. It must be about collective upliftment. And empowering women isn't charity. It's not helping them. It is recognizing that their power already exists and giving it the stage that they deserve. It's not about teaching women to lead. It's about removing the barriers that stop them from doing what they've always had the potential to do. So empowerment isn't a hashtag. It is not a panel discussion. It is what happens when we give girls the access to education, when we give women the access to credit, survivors access to justice, leaders access to the room, and that access shouldn't depend upon where you're born, what you wear, how much you speak up. It should be a right, non negotiable, and universal. So today I'm here talking to you not just because I had a dream or just because I was asked to, but because people around me, my community, the community that I was able to build, believed in it. And now it's my turn. And as a matter of fact, it's our turn to believe in others, to build spaces where voices don't just echo, they ignite, where young women don't just participate, they pioneer, and where leadership isn't actually defined by titles, but it is defined by the change that we leave behind. So let's take it home today with something personal. People are often asked what it's like being a 14-year-old girl running a non-profit run a business. I'll tell you, it's fulfilling, it's terrifying, it's chaotic, it's empowering, it's lonely. It is everything all at once. My non-profit work is all heart. You survive of belief. You keep going when funds dry up, when plans fail, when the impact feels invisible. You do it because people are counting on you to show up. Running a company, though, that's a different battlefield. Now you're dealing with everything. The point of me starting Youth Today magazines with my co founders was so that I could provide a place to young people so that they can share, build, and grow. Sometimes when you're a girl and you're young, the disbelief walks in the room before you do. They expect a logo, not a business model. They assume that there's an adult handling the real work. They think that it's a school project. But the thing is that neither did I, and nor do I expect any other woman or any other young girl to step into it to seek permission. We step into it because we see a gap and we decide that we're not going to wait for somebody elder to us to fill it in. When I decided I could lead, and so I did. Not because I had everything figured out from the starting, but because I believed that I could figure it out and I had people supporting me. And that is the exact same thing that we need to give other people who are aspiring right now. Other women who are aspiring to have a business, to have the title of being a CEO in front of their name, to have people look up to them as role models and as someone who can call them their boss. So empowerment doesn't come to the perfect, it comes to the persistent. And to every girl who has ever been doubted, let that double the fuel, not the fear. And to the men in this room, this is your fight too. We cannot win without you standing with us and not ahead of us. And this is not about pushing you people back. It's about asking you to push forward with us. So today, I want to wrap this session with clarity that empowered women do not just change lives, they change society. And the evidence is in front of us. When women lead, companies perform better, communities grow stronger, nations become more peaceful and productive. This isn't just a favor, it is a strategy because empowerment is not optional, it's essential. And let me tell you, here's the call to action for you people. Don't just listen, but lead. Don't just agree, but act. Don't just include women when it's convenient, include them where it is necessary. Expect them to lead, build with them, invest in them, trust them, and celebrate their success without making it sound like a miracle. Because the truth is that a woman's success, it isn't a miracle. And empowerment is something that you do not just hand over. It's something that you stop taking away. So as we approach towards the end of today's session, I don't just speak for myself. I speak for every girl, every woman who is not ready, who is not enough, who is not allowed. We're not waiting for change. We are the change. And we're done shrinking, and we're done shrinking ourselves to fit outdated expectations. Because when women lead, communities rise. When women speak, movements begin. And when women are empowered, the world just doesn't get better, it gets braver. So, but let me say this clearly. In this century, we are no longer asking for space. We are claiming it now. We're not seeking permission, we are now rewriting the rules. And because normalizing women in leadership, in workplaces, in change making isn't radical, it's overdue. And every time one of us breaks a barrier, we give someone else the courage to break theirs. I've learned that being underestimated is exhausting, but it is also your fuel. Every no I've heard has only made my yes louder. And I will keep saying yes to leading, to growing, and to make this world a place where every girl knows where she belongs. She belongs in the rooms of power, of purpose, and of progress, and not of societal beliefs. Because this isn't just about women at work, this is about women leading revolutions. This is about them starting campaigns, building communities, raising voices, and changing systems. This is about reminding the world that the presence of women in power, it is not just a trend. It is actually the new normal. It is the new standard. So what I would like to say is that let's rise, let's lead, let's lift. Not because the world gave us a seat at the table, but because we pulled up our own chair on that table and made space for others to do that too. And the future isn't just female. The future is fearless, inclusive, and unapologetically driven by people who believe in justice, by people who believe in equity, and the people who believe in change. And if we want the future to be real, we have to build it brick by brick, voice by voice, women by women. And the fact is that we have to start today. Sometimes when I look back, I wonder what the younger me would say if she saw this moment today. A girl with a fire in her heart and a question in her eyes, wondering why the world asked her to shrink just to fit in, wondering why strength was admired in boys but was questioned in girls. I do wonder that if her voice would ever be heard without having to shout. And the fact is, I think that she would smile. Not because everything is perfect now, but because she'd see the way that we're finally beginning to change the story. Because this journey, this fight to empower women is not just professional, it's personal. Every time I walk into a room where decisions are made, I carry the weight of the women who are not allowed in. I carry the hope of the girls who are still waiting to be seen, and I carry the truth that change doesn't happen by accident. It happens because people choose to challenge the silence. I've had people question my path, underestimate my choices, dismiss my voice, but I've also had moments like today that remind me why I keep going. You people gave me an opportunity to speak here today today. And that is and moments are like these which empower more women, more girls to rise up and to speak for themselves. Because every time a woman leads, a new door opens. And every time we choose to believe in ourselves, in our dreams, in our rights, our power, we shift something in the air around us. So if you're going to take one thing away from this today, let it be this. You do not need to be older, louder, or more perfect to make a difference. You just need to start. Start where you are. Start with what you have and refuse to let the world convince you that your voice is too small. Because if we are going to build a world where women are free to rise, we need to stop waiting for the change and be the change. For ourselves, for those who came before us, and for every little girl who's still whispering to herself that maybe one day I can do that too. So, this is where I would like to end my session today with a hope that whatever you take from today's session, whatever you take from what I said, is going to help you empower at least one more women's life, one more little girl's life today and every other day that follows. So thank you so much for being part here of this journey with me, of listening to me where I wanted to raise a question, and for thank you and I would like to really thank you people for supporting me to be here today and to share my views on this. So thank you so much. I like it.
One question, madam.
Yes, sir, please. I would
Uh,
really
uh,
appreciate that.
the the speech was very nice.
Mhm.
We worship goddess Durga, Lakshmi, and Parvati to get everything. Even
Mhm.
wealth, we worship Lakshmi, Durga,
Right.
strength. But
Mhm.
why we don't think of empowering our own women?
All right. Got it, sir. All right. So this is a question that itself is challenging the societal beliefs. This is a hard-hitting thought, and it deserves to be talked upon here today. So in our culture, we worship Goddess Durga, the fierce, the powerful, and the most unstoppable goddess. We bow our heads, we light our lamps, we pray for her strength, for her protection, and her grace. And yet, in the same breath, we question the strength of the women around us. We silence their voices, we clip their wings, and we expect them to ask for permission to rise. Now, the question here is, as Sir asked, is that why do we revere power in our goddesses but fear it in our own girls? Why is it that we seek blessings from a divine feminine but struggle to empower the real women in our home, in our school, and in our workplace? So, the answer here is if we can worship Durga with folded hands, then we can uplift our daughters with our own hearts too. If we believe that our goddess can defeat evil, why don't we believe that a woman can lead a company, a movement, or a revolution too? It all starts here because यहीं पे ना सारे गलत चीजें सारी सही चीजें सब यहीं पर है. And this is where an idea sparks. This is where a revolution begins. ये बदलेंगे ना सोच अगर हम बदलेंगे तो काफी कुछ बदलेगा. And empowerment should not be a prayer. It should be a practice. And it must begin with action. सिर्फ एक दिन नहीं पूरे साल में कि त्योहार है तो कर लिया. But every single day, we should not celebrate Women's Day just once a year for the sake of it. But every single day, in the way we speak, in the way we support, and in the way that we stand up for the women around us, if we let girls get education, if we let women get capital, and if we let them get support, then we can uplift societies. And how उसी तरह अपने घर में the women around us, that is the exact way we can worship them too. अगर हम goddess Durga, Lakshmi और इन लोगों को worship करते हैं, and that is the exact way that we can worship the women in our home, in our schools, and in our workplaces too. So, sir, I hope that answers the question.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you. If there is anybody else who would also like to ask a question, I would like to answer that too. All right, I guess that there are no more questions. So over.
Siddharth?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, so on the behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to sincerely thank you, Oviya Singh, for outstanding speaker today. We had the chance to hear a fascinating and thought-provoking conversation. Through her remarkable ability to convey information, Oviya Singh left us with insightful discoveries and motivational concepts. Her engaging lecture motivated us to study. We appreciate the effort and the time they put into organizing this educational program.
Thank you so much for the
Finally,
bottom. This second.
yeah,
Thank you so much for the bottom of my heart for listening, for holding space today, and for believing in the power of women. I carry this. I'll carry this moment with deep gratitude and with even greater purpose. So, thank you so much, everyone, for being there and for listening.